Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Time to once again pay a visit to Stan Lee's reinvention of the DC Universe. Last year, we skipped back a bit to see some of his heroes uniting together to form their version of the JLA. But the thing is, all the characters we've been seeing Stan take on have been the big heroes of the DC Universe. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, etc. What about a character like Robin, who's a sidekick? Will he be his own thing, or will he still be connected to Batman as his partner? Well, let's dig into Just Imagine Stan Lee creating Robin, and we'll find out.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. What's with these awkward subjects? What's all this art so rubbish? To anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he is a man, punch, sporadically a grouch. Linkara, he has his own spaceship, but he's always on his couch. Linkara, ghosts, gods, a universe in flux. Linkara, this comic sucks. Linkara.
The cover is not great. While the overall style of a hero just standing overlooking a rooftop is fine, it feels a little minimalistic, what with the very basic buildings, blank sky, and Robin's outfit displayed for us. And said outfit is the height of minimalism, or a better term for it, really boring. A black tank top, black pants, a utility belt, and a red bandana. Congratulations, you somehow made the Connor Kent Superboy t-shirt and jeans look seem like it had way more effort put into it than yours. At least he still has a symbol. I have more effort in my costume, and I'm some dumbass on the internet. Like, at least give him some kind of bird symbol on the tank top, it's all I'm asking for. All the other characters we've seen with the Just Imagine series, with maybe a couple exceptions, you could probably guess who the character is because you can get the concept even if it's not what we expect him to be. He just looks like a dude who's into extreme parkour. Alternate cover's not any better, just shows the after effect of him punching someone so hard their hat remains in place. Maybe that's supposed to be me after I badmouthed this outfit. Even if the costume sucks, he could probably still kick my ass. Speaking of, we open on that scene of him kicking someone. Though not someone in a purdy hat, but rather Batman. As a reminder, Batman's backstory in the Stan Lee universe is very Count of Monte Cristo-esque, wherein he was a regular guy framed for armed robbery by some dorky crime lord named Hans, with a Z as revenge for saving his girlfriend's life during an attempted hit on him. In jail, he was befriended by an old guy who helped teach him to develop his mind as well as his body. And then when he got out of prison, he became a professional wrestler. We were robbed of a story opportunity where Batman suplexes Vince McMahon. They're on a rooftop and Batman is trying to get Robin to stop doing something. A strange way to begin our tale, perhaps. No, two people fighting is a perfectly normal way of opening a superhero comic. A strange way to begin would be Robin declaring, "I was actually made of cocktail shrimp this whole time," while dissolving into said shrimp. But things get stranger still. And said strangeness is just them continuing to fight on the rooftop, Batman wanting to know why he's attacking him. Robin just says he's got to do what he has to and doesn't have to explain why. Batman tries to evade him with some limited flight, but Robin actually uses a swing line to come around and knock him down. "Look, while I catch my breath, level with me. This is some kind of college initiation, right?" You couldn't be more wrong. It's more like a TikTok challenge. Batman is able to quickly reverse it and fly up, tossing Robin onto a rooftop. He once again demands some answers, but after Robin once again refuses, he hears a shootout between some robbers and cops. As such, he decides to go to deal with that instead. Robin grumbles to himself that he won't be able to catch up to him and climbs down to the street. There's a Robin. Funny how I see him almost everywhere I go. Although I'm pretty sure that's because Batman gave me a concussion. It was on account of one of them that I got my name. I can still remember those early days at the orphanage. In this red-tinted flashback, we learn that Robin was left on the doorstep of an orphanage as a baby. without even a basket or anything. I mean, look at this. They just laid a baby down wrapped in a blanket on cement. Jeez. Seems to be in perfect health. Why would anyone abandon such a great-looking boy? I mean, if the baby was ugly, I'd get it. I mean, for crying out loud, you work in an orphanage. You can't conceive of any reason at all someone would give up a baby. Anyway, they named him Robin after a bird that flew in and stayed on the crib. Lucky for me, it wasn't a vulture. Although I do feel bad for my roommate Titbird. Shockingly, he was able to walk and talk after only 2 months. Personally, I don't know why it took me so long. Laziness just strikes sometimes, especially when you're a baby. Also, I think the orphanage lady might want to reevaluate because that is an ugly-ass baby in this panel. Anyway, we cut away from the flashback to Robin being visited by, of all people, Reverend Damien Dark. It seems that Robin works for our recurring villain of the Stan Lee universe. How'd you know I'd be here? I know everything. But does he know why kids love the taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch? This is why his religion is wrong. Dark orders him to go out and rob a sleeping old couple who are apparently evil. They don't look so evil to me. Yeah, but that's because you don't see them hawking chatbot GPT to replace TV writers. He says that he has to do whatever Dark tells him because he's the only one who can help him. He does ask the Reverend why he has to do so much thievery, but the villain simply says that he'll explain in due time. Robin returns to wherever the hell he's staying. Looks like he's sleeping on a cot. And has another flashback to the orphanage. He was always a sulking, grumpy kid and a loner, not hanging out with any other kids even when they offered to spend time with him. Adults didn't want to adopt him, and eventually he became the oldest kid at the place. He was apparently into this one girl who was adopted, but doesn't know what became of her. But before we get more details, Dark returns. I have a new task for you, Robin. You're not gonna ask me to rob a bank now, are you? No, boy. Reverend Dark does not ask. I command! So, like, the bank is evil, right? I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I mean, they probably committed fraud or something, I don't know. When I look into those burning eyes of his, there's no way to refuse what he asks. I mean, how could you? Clearly he's infected with Spiromania! Spiromania is running wild! At the bank, a guard finds him suspicious for some reason, and Robin hits him with the Vulcan neck pinch. It doesn't knock him unconscious, but it does paralyze him enough for Robin to hold him as a hostage. Listen up, all of ya! Nobody move, unless you want me to snap his neck like a chicken. Put your hands down, dummy, I ain't got a gun. Sorry, man, it's just Roddy Piper was in here earlier talking about chewing bubble gum and shooting people, so I'm kind of on edge. He starts walking towards the bank vault, but fortunately, Wayne Williams, aka Batman, just happens to be here. He decides to keep an eye on the situation as some women in the vault notice the commotion. A blonde woman steps out to see what's up, and what a coinky-dink! It turns out this is the girl Robin was into back in the orphanage, the two recognizing each other. Her name was Beth, and it turns out she wasn't another orphan, but rather a student training to be a social worker there. Robin was enamored with her, but was too shy and uptight to talk to her. He just kind of stalked her at the orphanage for the few weeks she was there and didn't even say goodbye. At the bank, he lets the guard go, says hello to her, and then quickly decides to flee since he can't go through with it with her around. Wayne Williams asks her about it, but she just explains about how he was a kid at the orphanage and doesn't really know more. Wayne wants to know why Robin attacked him, so that night he suits up. It wasn't Wayne Williams the kid was after, it was Batman. And Batman doesn't like unfinished business. Alfred, can you finish this soup for me? I think it's gross, but I don't like unfinished business. On a rooftop, Robin wonders what the hell it is he's doing, thinking something is messing with his head. He has flashbacks to what happened after Beth left, throwing himself into studying, bodybuilding, extreme sports, basically anything to keep him from thinking about Beth. Soon after, a representative of Dark and the Church of Eternal Empowerment donated a bunch of Christmas gifts to the orphans, taking an interest in Robin despite how standoffish he was. When he was old enough to leave the orphanage, he did so, still thinking about Beth even after all that time. He ran into some random woman on the street who asks if he's a member of a gang. Immediately afterwards, said gang crawls out to attack him. Who's the creep trying to move in on our turf? Only we're allowed to talk to random women in the streets. Robin is able to easily kick all their asses. Yeah, not exactly Los Locos here. He just walks off afterwards and spots Batman leaping around overhead. Batman. I used to read about him. Just some headline-grabbing clown in a corny costume. How is Stan Lee Batman's outfit corny? If it was a traditional Batman outfit, sure, I could see him calling it that since it still follows a standard superhero archetype, but Batman here actually looks like some kind of human bat creature. In the present, Batman tackles Robin as he's on his way to meet Dark. He injects Robin with sodium pentothal, truth serum, to try to finally get some answers out of of him. However, it just makes him dizzy and disoriented when Batman tries to ask about his connection to Dark. A day after he left the orphanage, Robin wound up at a martial arts school, discovering the instructor was just some asshole more interested in hurting kids than teaching them. "This your school, lady? Why'd you let that butcher beat up on the kids that way?" "Look, kid, I don't see how that instructor could sully the good name of the Cobra Kai." The woman explains that this guy scared away all the other instructors.
You got a big mouth, pretty boy. I think I'll close it for you.
No. That's not how you do it. Mr. T has got this down.
No, you got a lot of mouth, and I got a lot of fists for your mouth.
Dude even calls Robin sucker. Weird. Anyway, Robin knocks him through a window and kicks his ass down the street. "Looks like you'll be needing a new instructor." She also needs new pants. Hers are pretending to be a transparent PNG. After he got the job, and yes, she jokes that the window is coming out of his paycheck, he sees an ad on a bulletin board for Reverend Dark offering help to orphans to find their parents. He's been narrating all this to Batman, who points out that it's a pretty ridiculous coincidence that the ad was specifically for his wants. And in fact, despite all that, Dark hasn't even found his parents yet. This situation was elaborately designed to recruit him. Continuing his story, yet another Robin was in the trees outside the church, its song almost sounding like a warning. Okay, unless the bird turns out to be his sidekick, I'm really confused by the constant need to have the thing repeatedly show up in this story. It doesn't really add anything, and belabors the point we already know about Robin being special. Inside the church, Dark used some kind of hypnosis and magic to make Robin obey him. He wasn't a complete slave, but it definitely had an influence over his actions. Dark then performed some kind of magic ritual to empower a naked Robin with, I don't know, super strength? Dude was already a skilled fighter. It's not really clear what he gained from this other than the bandana. Dark orders him to hunt down and destroy Batman. Not any of the superheroes he fought, even as recently as the JLA one, specifically Batman. Because, you know, Batman and Robin. The two decide to pay Dark a visit.
Freedom of religion is one thing, but Dark uses it as a pretext to attain his goal. When in reality, everyone should be worshipping the Bat God.
Batman explains that they don't know what Dark's ultimate goal is, but he has enough money and power to pull it off. They sneak down into the depths of the church, discovering him speaking to his cult.
"Let us rejoice, for I have created my ultimate warrior.
You can feel it, dude! You can feel it!
He shall be the first of my army of warriors, each prepared to give their lives in the service of our cause. My army of parkour enthusiasts shall be unstoppable. Remember ye thy sacred oath. We got spirit, yes we do. We got spirit, how about you?"
The oath is actually really kind of lame.
"Power is great, power is all. We are destined to conquer. All others must fall."
Not exactly the Sith code, is it? Just kind of boils down to, we like having power and we rule, you suck. Dark senses Robin and Batman's presence as unbelievers and dispatches the cultists to attack them. But fortunately, this is Batman and Robin. A person who was at the regular church services but not part of the cult soon overhears the fight scene and decides to call the police. Dark, hearing the sirens, orders his minions to escape via a mystical portal, lest he and his followers be discovered. Batman and Robin try to pursue, but the portal closes before they can follow. The two also flee before the cops can see them.
"This is the female who called us."
The female? What, are you a Ferengi or an incel, dude? On a nearby rooftop, Batman compliments Robin on his fighting prowess, though the young fighter still has a chip on his shoulder. Batman offers to join forces with him to continue trying to fight Dark, but Robin says he isn't looking to become a comic book teenage sidekick, and strangely, comic book is all one word in the dialogue. He says that everyone he's ever trusted turned out to be an asshole, and as such is just gonna focus on trying to find out who his parents are. Batman offers to help, but he refuses, saying he doesn't need any help and is the best there is ever. And so our comic ends with Batman saying their paths would cross again. And indeed they would, but that's a story for several more comics down the line. In the meantime, this comic is kind of meh. I hesitate to say it sucks, but I wouldn't call it anything special. Robin is just not that appealing a character in this version, especially when even after he's freed from mental influence, he's still a dick. And it feels like there's no point of having Batman be involved in this version of Robin if they're not even going to become partners in the end. Sure, this is supposed to be a different interpretation of the characters, but Robin is kind of inexorably linked to Batman, so it feels like they included him in the story for that reason, but didn't want to go the extra step of having him be truly tied to him, and that makes the inclusion feel kind of pointless. pointless. Robin's own backstory is not that compelling, and having read ahead a bit, a lot of the larger story beats and questions raised by this comic are actually intended to be set up for the final Just Imagine book that unites all the characters together in a big, chaotic mess of a story. Consequently, that does also mean I should quickly address the on-the-street story afterwards. I've been ignoring these for the most part, just these short inclusions that expand on the world a bit, but this is the first one that felt like it was kind of relevant. Beth, that girl Robin was obsessed with, goes back to the orphanage to try to find out why Robin was acting the way he was, and that kind of shows that the whole backstory with her was kind of pointless, since you could have had Wayne Williams play the same role here without any major difference. And consider also that for some reason, despite training to be a social worker, Beth was suddenly working at a bank instead. But yeah, she goes back to the orphanage, and it turns out the place was a front for Dark and the church. The place is run by this universe's version of Madame Xanadu, who works for Dark. She uses two older orphans, Tommy Tomorrow and Mike Merlin, to try to throw her off the trail, though honestly it feels like they instead just point her in Dark's direction for her investigation. And Xanadu explains that the two are being empowered with bringing Robin back into the fold, but also that Dark had a child, Adam Strange, who is now dead, but that he had another child who could inherit Dark's kingdom, both of the orphans suspecting they might be the one. Again, this is all set up for the finale of the entire series, and it's frankly not that interesting. This one has been one of the more unimpressive Just Imagine books, with a boring main character and a less than interesting take on the boy wonder. Next time, we brought him up here because of the one abusive martial arts teacher, but accept no substitutes, it's time for more Mr. T and the T-Force. Something about him made me feel clammy, like I'd stepped on a nest of worms. Damn it, now these worms won't taste nearly as good!
Hello my friends, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications on new video releases. If you'd like to support future videos, you can check out my Patreon or purchase a t-shirt via Teespring or Shark Robot. Thanks for watching!